Hello, hello, hello. All right, we should be live. Let me just make sure in my page if I see it. Hold please. You know, this takes me a minute. All right, here we are. Yeah. Let me share it to the group. All right, let's rock and roll. Today we have a fun topic. All right, so sorry, it takes me a minute at the beginning. Today we have a very fun topic. I think that a lot of people stress out, maybe unnecessarily, about sales and being salesy. And I don't like it either. It kind of ickies me out and I avoid it at all costs. I get it. So what I have come up with and what I help my clients do is have easy ways to start conversations without feeling like you're selling somebody. And remember, the whole concept of what I help you do is build your personal brand, build your thought leadership so that you are putting out content. You're constantly helping people. You're give, right? You're not take. You're give. You've got freebies that you're putting out there. You're putting content out there on a consistent basis. So you're always giving to your prospective clients. So when they reach out to you, most of the time they already know who you are and how you can help them. They're interested. That's so much easier to make a smooth kind of flowing conversation rather than, a hardcore funnel or cold sales or anything like that. So that is, I'll bet I forgot to put the title slide. Let me see. Oh, I didn't even pull the slides up. Hold on. Hopefully they're right here. I was clicking on my face and nothing was moving. All right, so while we wait for this to come up, the idea is if you could figure out in your business how many conversations you need to have to, bring people into a call, and then how many calls you need to have to close people, you would understand how many conversations you need to have. And then if you work that back, how many posts or how much content or how many events or whatever it is that you're doing to get the conversations started. And so what we're talking about today is an easy way to start these conversations. Let me share my screen. And it is really a lot easier than you think it is. The issue is two things. Number one, you've got to do it, and you have to do it consistently. And that's, a lot easier said than done. So let's dive in. 4 revolutionary tools to turn social media into dynamic dialogue. So there's going to be 2 things going on here. Oh, I think I forgot to do a summary page, but whatever. I think there's going to be 2 things going on here. One is we're going to have the 4 tools, and then the other is the acronym that I use to describe the 4 tools. So you'll see it. All this. All right. Are you tired of talking into the void on social media? Want to know how to spark real conversations with your audience? So a lot of the times, clients come to me, they're like, Coach, I'm here. I see coaches everywhere doing the exact same thing as me. So our way to get out of that sea of sameness is to pop up to here. And how do we do that? Through our personal brand and then eventually our thought leadership. So at first you're doing your personal brand, which is how do you build your personal brand? You tell people who you are, what you're all about, let them know, put it out there. All right. Hold on. Mouse is going nuts. All right, so here's the first tool. Discover, so acronym, if you're following, the first letter is, and you know it's 4 because I said 4, right? 4 tools. So discover interests with questions driven content. Question driven content. And then I kind of created this little tool. So let me give you a quick, clear picture of what something could be question driven content. How many conversations do you have in the DMs daily? Drop me a number below. Drop me a number below. How many conversations do you have in the DMs daily? Some of you are going to say 0. Some of you are going to say so many I can't count. Some of you are going to be like, what kind of conversations? Well, the kind of conversations that I'm talking about, if you're counting, and if you want to count yours, is how many conversations are you having that are with prospective right fit clients that you might be moving into a sales call? That's what we're talking about here, right? So IFF, interaction igniter formula. This is the first one, and this is the D, discover interest with question-driven content. So here is the formula. Identify the interest that you want to talk about, right? Identify the interest, formulate the query, which is your question, and then encourage participation. So when you want to do one of these, and I would encourage you to do the ones that are like, I call them one-liners. I would encourage you to do one-liners as much as possible. If you have a set of groups that you can post in. Remember, now there are a lot of public groups. I have a public group now too. There are a lot of public groups that don't charge to post, that let everybody post. So maybe you move to some of those and you start posting. So identify the interest, formulate the query, encourage participation. So let's look at a quick example of that. And if you are watching this, take that formula, do your example, and stick it in the chat. And if you stick it in there, I'll look at it and tell you what I think. All right, so example, identify the interest. Coaching techniques. So this is what I'm going to talk about. Formulate the query. Coaches, what's one technique you have found incredibly effective in helping your clients achieve breakthroughs? Encourage participation. Share your insights below. Let's learn from each other and elevate our coaching practices. So we want to do as many of these as possible. Do you want to do one a day? Okay, so if you're doing this on your personal profile or in your Facebook group, you don't want to do one a day unless you're doing 3, 4, 5 pieces of content a day. If you're doing a lot of pieces of content a day, then you can do one a day of these. That's kind of my goal, just in case you're wondering. I'd love to do one a day, but what I end up doing is one a day and then I don't do the rest. So I don't want to do that. I don't want you to do that either. So if you're doing a bunch of different content, then you can do one a day. Otherwise, I would suggest you do it once a week, maybe twice a week, something like that. Well, you'll see some others that you can try instead. Here's another example that somebody else might use. This wouldn't be one of mine, but work-life balance. How do you maintain a healthy work-life balance while managing a busy coaching schedule? See how you're asking the question? A lot of people ask the question and then they leave off the bottom part. And I'll be honest with you. I'm going to say this, but it sounds mean, but people want to be told what to do, right? We all do. Like, just give me the step by step and I'll do it. Tell me exactly what to do and I'll do it, right? If we don't specifically say, drop your strategies in the comments, your tips could be a game changer for fellow coaches. If we don't specifically say that part, even though we put a question, a lot of people think of the answer in their head. We want you to put your answer in the comments, right? Tell them you want them to put the answer in the comments. So a lot of you are thinking, one of the new ways that we do this now is like, for example, drop balance, right? Drop balance if you want more. Well, when you say drop balance, it's because you're giving them your freebie, right? So what you would do is you can set it up with this. So say this is your first post. You're asking for them to answer a question. and your feedback. You want feedback from them. People love giving advice, especially in my field. If you're talking to other coaches, they all want to give their advice, right? So ask your audience for their advice. Drop your strategies in the comments, right? Your tips could be game changer for fellow coaches. So you're asking for their advice. You're not giving them something in return. However, later on, if you do this, some people do this over the week. Some people do this over the day. Later on, next day, 2 days, 3 days later, or an hour later, 2 hours, 3 hours later, you can go back and say, do you want to learn how to maintain a healthy work-life balance while managing a busy coach schedule? Drop balance below for the drop balance below for the schedule that my clients are using, or something like that. Sample schedule that my clients are using to help you, blah, blah, blah. You get it. All right. Who is Erica Leary? I forget to introduce myself like almost every show, so I thought I'd pop one in here this show. This is just some places I've been, stages I've been on, people I've met, and stuff like that. So the idea of this is to show you that, you know, this is one of the things that you can create in your business too. I started back in 2007 in online marketing. Love, love, love online marketing. I got obsessed. I studied marketing in college, so it was something I already loved. I just didn't really understand how to use it until I read The 4 Hour Work Week. Has anybody read that? Drop it down below. If you read it and loved it, I want to hear about it. I literally love that book. I think everybody should read it. It's in a nutshell about outsourcing and about leverage. So I've done a summit on my summits. Oh yeah, my summit's the bottom left one. That was my, if you know Phil Palucha, he's pretty big. He was my keynote speaker. Anyway, that was a summit I did on leverage. So I do believe a lot in leverage. And I think that it's something that we can all make sure that we're looking at in our businesses. All right. Moving on. All right, so initiate user-generated content challenges. So our first letter was D, second letter is I, in case you're keeping tabs on it. If you know the word, drop it below. If you want to guess, drop it below. Oh, I'm not on the page. I'm going to go back over there. Hold on. Hold, please. I like being in there so I can hear you. Hear you, see you. You know what I mean. Hold on. I finally changed my banner. Yes. In case you were watching. Oh, shoot. I don't know if I did that. Okay. Whatever. Let's see. Okay. All right. User-generated content. So user-generated content challenges. So this is a little bit different, but everybody knows what user-generated content is. If you think about, for example, what influencers do, you know, the traditional influencers, what did they do? They would be creating a video and drinking Starbucks while they were creating the video and talking about how amazing Starbucks is. That's user-generated content. If the company Starbucks now can use that content with somebody saying, oh my God, I love your content. I love Starbucks. I love the mocha, whatever, blah, 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 blah. So that's one of the ways that you can use user-generated content. Do you need an influencer? Do you have to pay an influencer, or do you need an influencer to discover you, to use user-generated content? No, absolutely not. You want your clients. Those are your users. You want your clients to start generating content. And I love this concept. I have not used it that much. So stay tuned, because this is one of the things that I'm going to start testing out. And I love this idea. So I was trying to think of some way to get some engagement going. And I think I talked about this, but to get a little bit more engagement going in the group, if you are in my group and you're watching this, let me know some ideas you have. I'd love to hear them. But user generated content challenges, I thought was a really fun idea. So here is the formula for doing it. Challenge concept, engagement mechanics. What do you want them to do? Incentivization strategy. This can go as little or as high as you want it to go. I'll talk about this at the end. Oh, I hope I put the slide on. I think I did. Okay, I'll talk about that at the end. Never mind. So, challenge concept, coaching tip exchange. So again, we're asking people for their advice, right? Engagement mechanics. Coaches share their favorite coaching tip or tool in a video or post. Incentivization strategy. Feature the most innovative tip in your newsletter and offer a free coaching session with you. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a post about your user-generated content challenge. And then all week long, people are going to put in their favorite coaching tip or tool. This does not have to be, if you are a fitness expert, right? You can say, put your favorite exercise or your favorite, maybe if you do exercise, your favorite way to exercise, not in a traditional way. Maybe you could do something fun like that, right? You could do, let's see, if you're a finance expert, your favorite non-traditional way to save money, that would be a fun one. Or your favorite tip on how to save money, your favorite tip on how to get out of debt, or how to start debt reduction, or how to start investing, whatever. You could do anything like that. What if you are let's see, what other types of coaches can I think of? Okay, like what if you're like a trauma coach? That's a hard one, right? So you could say something like, drop a picture of a time or a place where you feel the happiest, right? Drop a picture of the time or the place where you feel the happiest or safest or something like that, right? Or a video. And then your incentivization strategy. So you're going to tell them at the end of the week, we're going to pick a winner. Now you can either pick it on votes, on hearts, or you random draw. I like the random draw, but it could be whatever. You can pick it on whatever. Feature the most innovative tip. So if you're saying this, you have to actually pick the most innovative one and base it on something. People voted on it. It got the most comments. It got the most shares. You're choosing which one you think is the most innovative, whatever it is, but let them know. And then it says in your newsletter and offer a free coaching session with you. And I hear you. They're like, I don't even have a newsletter. Okay, you don't have to do that. You can feature them. So I have over 500 people in this group, right? If I featured one of you talking about what you do, would you be interested in that? If you're interested in doing something like that, send me a DM, because that might be something I'm interested in doing. And that would be a good prize draw, right? That would be a good prize draw. A coaching session with you, that's always good. No sales. I will not sell you at the end. It will be, you tell me a problem, let's solve it together. And let's, one problem, one solution, 15-minute call, right? One problem, one solution. Give that away. That'd be fun. All right, here's another idea. Transformation Tuesday. Clients share their fitness transformation stories and photos highlighting their journey and results. Winners receive a month of free personalized training plans or group fitness sessions. Now, I personally like the one where you do the whole week. But if you do the whole week, you have to keep them engaged the whole week long. So maybe you start off doing something like Transformation Tuesday, and at the end of the day, you can give the prizes. Just be specific so I have a very international crowd, and I would have to be very specific of the time zones that my, end of day Tuesday is, because my end of day Tuesday is other people's Wednesday, right? So you might want to say it ahead of time, let people, start posting on their Tuesday. If there are Tuesdays ahead of you, whatever. Just keep that in mind when you're posting. I'm getting all confused in my head about times. But think about the people in, India or Australia or somewhere else. You don't want them to be like, oh, I can never participate. This isn't fun. That's why the week-long one also kind of works better. And I think it keeps people engaged all week. But what do you want to do? All right, let's move on. So we've got D, we've got I. What's coming next? Who knows? Who knows? Hey, all right. If you don't know by now, I'm going to be stressed out. Put it below. If you can guess it, put it below. All right. A, activate participation with polls and live voting. All right. So you can see that this is the same and different, right? All we're doing is trying to get people to comment, people to interact with us, people to drop stuff. Poll power process, a little bit of Erica Cheese going on, the 3P tool, poll power process. Pinpoint the purpose. Say that fast 26 times. Design the dialogue. Oh, you see how cheesy I am. Analyze and act. Crack myself up with my own cheesiness. All right. So let's go over what those mean. Pinpoint the purpose. You see me over here all by myself cracking up. Okay. Pinpoint the purpose. Coaching tools preferences. So this is the purpose of my post that I'm going to do or my poll that I'm going to do, right? I want to figure out what coaching tools people are using. All right, so design the dialogue. Which tool do you find more beneficial for your coaching sessions? A, StrengthsFinder, or B, DISC assessment? I already hear you saying, but I have 4. Okay, put 4. Put 4, right? You could use this one as a this or that. Yeah, you could do a this or that. That can be the type of thing, right? So design the dialogue, get creative, get creative. You can create an actual poll, or you can do just a written post that asks them this, or you could create like a graphic of a this or that. You've seen those. Those are fun. You could put it in your stories, however you want to do it. So which tool do you find more beneficial for your coaching sessions? A, StrengthsFinder, B, DISC assessment. So give me an A or B below this if you're watching. Give me an A or B below this if you're watching. Which one do you find more beneficial? All right, and then the last section of that is analyze and act. Share the results and provide a detailed blog post. How many of you do this? I don't, right? We need to. I will tell you to do this all day long. It's shoemaker's daughter. But we need to be doing this, right? I mean, it's amazing. So asking questions and polling people are amazing for our own business because we get all those answers. But repurpose, how fun would it be if we actually took those answers and created a blog post about it, or it doesn't have to be, it can be like a Facebook blog post, those long ones. It can be an infographic. It could just be a graphic saying, 60% of you chose StrengthsFinder and 37% of you chose DISC assessment. Not everybody always, but something like that. You could do it like that. You could do a follow-up to it. So share the results and provide a detailed blog post discussing how to use the preferred tool effectively. So you could share the results and talk about how to use it. You could share the results and have somebody that uses it share their perspective on it. So for example, I don't necessarily use either of these. So maybe if I did this, I would have somebody who's an expert come in and explain each of these. Maybe I'd have somebody come in, one that does StrengthsFinder, one that does DISC assessment, 2 different types of things. That's a great way. You're giving feedback and value to your audience. You have content that matters to them and that helps them along, and you're interacting. So you want to do things that are not random. For example, would this one really help me so much? Probably not, because I don't really use them. Maybe I should. But maybe that wouldn't really help them. But maybe if I did 2 that I use in my business, or one that I use and one that I don't use, and see what kind of input you get, you could do something like that. You could have 4 different ones. Again, think outside the box. There are 4 different ones here. So that means you have 4 different ways. You could do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? You could do all 4 of these. So share the results, and then on Friday you can do this. On Friday you can have a whole oh God, I gave it away. You can have a whole Friday of results. That'd be fun if you did all 4 of them. You can do 1 a week. You know, it does. I'm not saying you have to go nuts. I'm just saying you can do 1 a week. You can do 1 of each of these, however you want to do it, but mix it up, right? Do something different each time. And this one, how many different ways can you think of using this? So I just told you a couple, right? Live voting. Zoom actually has where you can live vote on there. I love that tool. When I have a lot of people in the house, I like to use that. That's so fun. So different things, a lot of different ways you can use this. So poll your audience. Again, what concept are we using? We're asking for their advice, their opinion. Notice that all of these are about them, not you. They're about them. Why? Because people want to share. They want to share their knowledge, their expertise, their advice. It's a lot easier for them to open up to you if you're asking for their help, or if you are asking them questions. So sometimes we do open-ended questions, which I love, but a lot of times people won't answer because they either spiral when they think about how they want to answer. They'll write it and rewrite it 16 times because they have to write a lot to answer it. And then they're not sure of their grammar, or they're not sure if this is the right word, or if they got all the points, or, and they'll go down to downward spiral with that. You know, there's a million and one reasons. So one thing I would say is the easier you can make it, A, B, you know, the easier you can make it for them, drop the acronym below if you know it. So we're at DIA. There's only 1 letter left. Drop it below if you know it. All right, so make it easy for them, right? 1 letter, 1 word, that type of thing. All right, here's another example. So let's think of a million ways to use this one. So pinpoint the purpose, workshop topics, design the dialogue. What topic should our next coaching workshop cover? A, building resilience. B, enhancing communication skills. I would love to hear the answer to this one. And we already did A and B for the last one. So if you could go all in and type DD, design the dialogue, DD, then A or B, that would help me out knowing which one you're talking about. So drop DD, then A or B. Building resilience or enhancing communication skills. And if you have another idea, drop it too. Of course, I want to hear it. We do have a webinar coming up. I will probably announce it. I'll probably announce it on Sunday. It's going to be at the very end of the month or the beginning of next month. We'll see. So stay tuned. We have a webinar coming up. All right, analyze and act. Organize the workshop based on popular demand and tailor the content to address specific interests expressed by the audience. Analyze and act. What does that mean? Do it. What else can you do this for? Pinpoint the purpose, right? What else can you do this for? Your freebies. If you want to find out if people are interested in your freebies, you know, what should I create next? A checklist to launch, or a checklist to create your own show, weekly show, you know, something like that. People can answer whatever it is that you're asking them. So how else can you use, how many ways can you use this? Well, number 1, anytime you want to test a new concept or new idea, for those of you that follow like Alex Hormozy, he says that he tweets. Do we call it Twitter anymore? Is the verb tweet still tweet if it's now X? He X's. That sounds like something something college kids shouldn't be doing. All right, I don't know how you say it, but you know what I'm talking about. So he puts out his thoughts on X on a continuous basis. And then anything that hits, he produces content about. That is a form of this, right? He's letting people, I mean, he's not saying A or B, right? But he is putting it out there and seeing what pops, and then he's using it. You're just being a little bit more direct in asking what pops with the question, literally, this or that, this, or this. That's an easier way to do it. You probably don't have the audience the size of Alex Hormozy yet. And you could do both. Always test. We do those posts. I do those posts too. Like, I just created, or I'm finishing creating X. Want a copy? That's not really giving them a choice, right? That is more like the first one that we did, asking a question, right? That's more like that first one we did. We're finding out if they're interested in whatever it is that we're doing through a question. This is more of a poll, so it's different. So you can do both types. One's not better. I keep trying to turn that off and I don't know how. One's not better than the other. Do them both. I heard somebody saying, should I do this or that the other day? I don't remember what they were talking about. And I'm like, I'm kind of one of those, I just want it all. And I don't mean go crazy and split yourself in a million one directions. But if you're posting more than one day a week, you can try more than one of these. Or if you're posting in more than one group, or, maybe one day you do it in a graphic and the next day you do it in a long blog post. However you want to do it, that you can say the same thing over and over all week long without anybody ever really even realizing it. Believe it or not. Not everybody's going to see every piece of content, number one. Number two, you are mixing it up. We receive things differently, whether that is, video, audio, kinesthetic, but also long form, short form, question. Maybe I got it the time that you did it in a poll, but not in a question, whatever it is. Mix it up, add it all in there, because in the end, what do you want? You want to start a conversation. So it doesn't matter which one of the 6 that you put out there that they respond to. It's that they respond to one of them. You're like, yeah. And I suggest keeping a spreadsheet with what people do respond to. So, in the future, you can reuse it. And you want to start keeping track of how many conversations you are having on a daily basis and on a weekly basis. Okay, you don't have to get nutty, just do weekly. But you should be having lots. My goal is 100. What's yours? A week. What is yours? Drop it below. How many conversations would you like to have a week? And by conversations, I'm not talking about sales calls. I'm talking about in the DMs that are moving towards sales. You're going to invite them onto a sales call. Unless you sell them in the DMs, and then that could be that. But a conversation means, you put something out, they responded, or you chatted and they chatted back. That's a conversation, 2 ways, not one way. All right. Last one. So it's dial for dialogue. How many of you guys got that? How many of you got it? How many of you got the Erica cheese going on today? So L, leverage dynamic dialogue driver. Leverage dynamic dialogue driver. So that's the last tool, dynamic dialogue driver. Notice that all of them have 3 steps. It's the concept, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. Okay, let's go. Discover interests, develop content about the interests, drive engagement. So now I want to talk about, I meant to flip these slides. Maybe I'll go forward and come back. No, I meant to flip these slides. I'm going to talk about a different concept once I get through these slides, but let me just show you the example. So discover interest. So if your clients are interested in professional development, example, I know that I would say 99% of the people who follow me, who are around me, who would be potential clients for me. I know that they are interested in getting 1% better every day. I know that they are interested in whether they listen to audiobooks or watch webinars, or they're always trying to improve themselves, their jobs, their skills, their life, their, nutrition, something. They're always trying to improve something. So this could be for me. Develop content about it. Share articles, tips, and courses on professional development specific to coaching. So if I am a business coach for coaches, professional development may not really be what I coach on, but I'm going to leave that dangling for a second. But all right. So drive engagement. Ask coaches to share their professional development goals and offer personalized tips. So this could be exactly what you do. Or I'm going to leave it dangling. Let's look at the next one. All right. So discover interest, niche coaching areas. Oh my God. I am so sorry. I don't know why I cannot figure out how to turn this off. Like the volume button, I don't know. And when I turn it off, then it takes me a month to get it back on. So maybe I just won't worry about it and I'll annoy you. Okay. Discover interest, niche coaching areas. So let's say that one of the interests of my audience is they want to know, like, I don't know, which niche should I get into? So I'm going to develop content, post about different niche areas within coaching, like wellness, executive, or life coaching. So maybe I'm going to develop content specific to, or, it's the other phone, specific to, or helping them figure out what, trying to sit on these, it's not helping, specific to, or figuring out like what niche areas might be of interest to them. Or because I target coaches, I do speak to a couple of different niche areas. So maybe that's what I want to do. Drive engagement. Invite coaches to discuss which niche they specialize in and why, fostering a diverse community dialogue. So this could be one of the things that you can do. So I want to talk about these two slides really quickly before we move on. If you know me well, you're going to laugh, but I'm about to say it. I was listening to a podcast the other day. That's how I start like half my sentences, right? So I was listening to a podcast the other day and the guy was talking about, I actually think it was a YouTube video. And the guy was talking about something that, like a concept that I really love. And if I could give you his name, I would, but I have no idea who it was. But the concept you're going to totally get and think, oh my God, yes, this makes perfect sense. So we always talk about that we should be coaching on what we've already been through, right? We should be coaching on what we've already been through because now we're here and we're coaching the people that are here. You hear some people say, you have to like have become the master of it and then you can coach about it. You have some people say you just need to be a step ahead of people to coach about it. Some people say, like a Gary V, document, document, document. So what does that mean? That means while you're going through it. So what I would say is both. And why would I say that? Because right now, what is her name? How many of you follow? Her name is like Strasberry or something. She used to be like I think like a wedding dancer, or she would teach people how to do wedding dances or something with wedding and dancing. That's what she used to do. And she built her entire business about it. And then she started teaching people how to build their business, right? So how does that happen? You're like, how do you do that? Well, because she did it, right? So her first business that she built was about what she was an expert in. And so some of you might come in doing something that you've been an expert in your entire lives. And as you build your business, you then go back and teach people how to do the same thing, build their business, Or maybe you are, you're into a lot of professional development stuff. And you're upping your skills at the same time, right? So maybe you document what you're learning. So on the one hand, you're teaching what you know, and then you're documenting what you're learning. Does that mean you have two choices when you're documenting what you're learning? You can document it and keep it until later, and then you could teach it or keep it for yourself or never use it or whatever. Or you could document it live. That's up to you. But that is a way to create content that isn't necessarily on the same path. You don't want to confuse people. So you want to be able to relate it in to what they're doing. And for example, in my first example of, and I wish I could think of her name, I'm so bad with this, but when she was building her content about wedding dances or how to be a wedding dancer or something like that, when she was doing that, if she had started also posting about building a business, the people looking at her stuff for wedding dancing would be like, what? Like, it would totally not go together. So if that's what you're talking about for you, then you want to either hold it on the side, document as you go and hold it on the side, or start a separate channel for that. You know, start a separate Facebook page, start a separate Instagram channel, start a separate YouTube channel, whatever it is. For that, you could be doing them simultaneously. And the reason I'm saying this is because a lot of times we're interested in a lot more than what we're doing right now, right? Most of us are teaching this, but also doing this. So in my case, I do this all the time. So if I was teaching this while I was teaching this, or I don't want to say teaching this, if I was documenting as I was doing it myself, this with this, more than likely mine would be related because I happen to geek out on stuff my people want to learn. But for me, it does connect. For you, it may or may not. I'm just saying. Huh, that was long-winded. I hope you understood what I'm saying. So present and future. In the present, you're teaching the past normally, right? What you already know how to do. But you're also learning new stuff. And if it's completely aligned, maybe you're teaching that. Not teaching it, maybe you are documenting instead of teaching. As you learn it, you're documenting. And then later on, you're teaching it. Does that make sense? So in the present, you teach the past. In the present, you document as you learn. Very cool concept. So one last thing I want to say. I am a big believer of not airing your dirty laundry. So when I say document what you're going through, I do not mean if you are going through a really terrible time and you're not through it. Maybe some people would recommend that you document that and document it. Absolutely. But not document it live. And the reason I'm saying that is because you're not through it yet. So you don't necessarily know what got you through it. And that's more of a serious thing. So I wouldn't want you doing that live in public. It might affect this business negatively, and you're not through this business yet either. So a lot of people want you to be, open and honest and vulnerable. Well, I go back to, like when you were little and your mother gave you rules about what you could say outside of the house type thing. Use that in your business. Use that. You guys might hear me say, my mom taught me never to say anything my grandmother wouldn't want to hear when I was 5. Live by those rules. And the same thing goes with your business. You don't want to be talking about something that may not positively affect your business. And some people think that it positively affects your business because you get a lot of people commenting and sympathizing with you. But you don't want people to feel sorry for you. You want people to buy from you. This is a business. So keep that in mind. All right, moving on. Genuine engagement increases trust and client retention by up to 40%. That's huge. Huge, 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 huge. All right, we're done. So just settle down. All right, next week, Time Lock Titan, five proven steps for peak productivity. You know, one of my favorite topics. All right. Oh, I did put it on here. Oh, I don't know what that. I have an issue on the page. You can see through it. All right, win 8 weeks group business coaching. This is I'm doing a draw, and you can sign up for that draw. I'll put the link underneath this video. You can sign up for that draw. And the draw is going to be on the 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern. So all it is register to win. That's it. Register to win. You don't even have to jump through hoops. So 8 weeks group business coaching. Don't mind my little square with the quotes. I have no idea what happened there. Crazy, Erica. All right. Have an amazing rest of your day. If you use one of the 4 tools, tag me on it. Let me know. Send me a DM. I want to hear all about it. If you want me to look at one of yours, drop it under the video. Have an amazing day. Ciao, ciao.